Are you stuck in a cubicle right now, plotting your escape? Or maybe you've picked up a really nasty smoking habit just to get an extra 20 minutes a day away from your colleagues. Or maybe you're taking an extremely long toilet break.
Well, I'm putting my shirt back on.
What your reason for being here isn't really important to me. I'd like to help you get out of your situation. One of the most interesting things I realized during my years as an engineer was just how many people didn't want to be there. They had other passions, dreams, and goals they wanted to achieve. So how does one get out of engineering? What are the good approaches and what are the bad ones? I'll tell you this, there are a lot of colleagues that told me countless times that they didn't want to be in engineering. I've still stayed in touch with my engineering friends. Did they do it? Did they get out? I catch up with a buddy of mine to see how he's progressing on his goals, what are some of his biggest challenges, and how he plans to escape engineering. But for now, here's a breakdown of what you should do based on my own experience of getting out of the field, and just a little brief history about me. 2 years ago, I switched out of automotive engineering. I am a Canadian and worked in Michigan for some of the biggest OEMs on the planet. Currently, I'm in digital marketing and I now work fully remote and live in Spain. Okay, so let's start with number one. Figure out what you actually want to do. This is of utmost importance, or else you'll end up in a similar position like this one not too long down the road. Church bells outside my apartment. Every time I gotta record. So set a timeline and actionable goals that get you closer to figuring out your new career path. You must be diligent with yourself, or days can turn into weeks, and weeks can turn to months, and months can turn to years, and you still don't know what you want to do. I've seen it countless times. I recommend traveling a lot, talking to a bunch of different people in different spaces, or just spending countless hours researching the things that interest you and seeing what potential they have. I think deep down though, you know that there's something that you enjoy doing more, but you've never really leaned into it or given it a sufficient amount of thought. I want to make one important point here, a bit of a sidebar that will apply to all of these items that I'm talking about today. We all know that engineering can be an extremely demanding field, and you might be working 50 plus hours a week and have tons of other obligations outside of it. However, you can't constantly put off these items if you wish to have any success in getting out. It might cost you some overtime pay, it might cost you some free time with friends, it might put you lower on the totem pole in your office, but that's okay. Your goal isn't to make the most money or to please everyone. Your goal is to find the next thing. That will require sacrifice, and that's pretty non-negotiable. Okay, let's move on to number two. Update your skills. This could be anything from using your free time to get better at a completely unrelated skill, or looking into going back into school to be able to easier pivot into your new career. Keep in mind that you're really up against the rope here. You will have to compete with people in this field that have been doing it probably for a longer period of time than you. However, if you are passionate about these new skills, you will find pleasure in the work and you can catch up and even exceed your competition. Number three, networking. I can't stress enough the importance of having a wide and deep network. Being able to reach out to others to see what opportunities are afoot is a massive advantage when trying to switch out of engineering. Not only is it beneficial to use this network to get a new job, but it's also beneficial to see what else is out there. If you don't know what's out there, how are you going to switch into something else? If you have no network, then you will have to work to build one. Look into networking events. I know here in Spain we have entrepreneur events via Meetup. We also have a language exchange almost every single week. You can even pick up unrelated hobbies like yoga or jiu-jitsu or whatever and meet new people that way. Don't underestimate the power of people skills. Maybe also look into offering free work for people that you want to network with. I used to do this a lot in the content space. I would just send out random videos or graphics to content creators I enjoyed watching, and I didn't really ask for anything in return. If they did like my content, maybe we can talk more about it and work something out, but I never really expected to get anything in return. I also use my podcast as an opportunity to get to know my guests and really bond with them. This hour I got with them was a powerful tool to build my network. To this day, this has presented some very interesting opportunities and has built lifelong friendships. Number four, create a plan. It's really easy to get comfortable with money and to put off tasks after a long day, but this is a bit of a trap that you should avoid. Have clear deadlines like you would in engineering projects. My original plan was to move to Spain and study abroad. So I looked at enrollment dates, submission dates, payment dates, and ultimately figured out the exact date I would need to quit my job. With each deadline, the plan became more and more solidified. There was no turning back, and that's exactly what I needed to be able to execute it. Lastly, number 5, I leave you with this. There are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. Don't expect your next career to be perfect or to pay more or to insert unrealistic expectation here. Accept the sacrifices that come with this decision. Is my current career perfect? No, but am I a lot happier? Yes. I'm working towards something I enjoy much more and something I can see myself doing for a long period of time. Okay, so now you have some concrete steps that you can follow. Let's catch up with my friend to see how his progress is going. If you're interested in the full conversation, I'll leave it down below. Let me ask you this. When we talked about this before, you were a portfolio manager. I remember you were working a lot of hours. I remember it was very stressful. I remember one time you showed me your watch that monitored your stress. And it looks like some sort of cryptograph, like in a week. It just kept going up and down. It was very unstable. Is this new job still like that, or is it better or worse? Or have you become numb to it?
I think I've become numb to it. I think it's worse. Yeah. I think it's worse in terms of hours.
Shit. We talked about when we worked together. We talked about exit strategies and how this is not really sustainable for 99.9% of people. Like this kind of job is not something you can do for 30, 40 years without having some sort of impact on either personal life or mental health or something. So what was the game plan, I guess? How long to do this job? How long to stay in this field? What to do after?
So my plan today is worst case scenario. I will do this for another around 10 years. So I set up a strategy with between my 401k and RRA and all these other alternatives. I set up a strategy that in 10 years I will have enough money that I will have just in the annual interest that I receive for this money. I will have enough money to make exactly the same salary that I have.
Oh today. Wow! Just as reference, how old will you be at that point?
45.
45? Okay.
No, that's very aggressive. I discussed this with a lot of friends, and it's so this goes through basically I can't have any major spending, which means I can't really have kids here. I can't really get sick. I can't, nothing really big can happen, right? It's this I'm talking about. I'm putting away probably 60 to 70% of my income. I'm basically redirecting to savings.
And I want to talk to some more friends and see where they're at, because I talked to a lot of people about the career switch, and the reality is very few execute. And that's a combination of reasons: family, money, being happy with what you, or being content with what you have, not knowing what else you can do. Like, knowledge is everything, right? If you don't know the other side, then why would you ever jump into it?
It's a big step too, because this is not a situation like I think about this. If I go do something completely different now, it's not like I'm going to take like 2 steps back. I'm going to take 10 steps back.
Oh yeah,
I've been doing this for 15 years.
It's hard to replace that thing. Yeah.
If I quit doing this, what do I do with all this knowledge I have about automotive?
So I hope you found some value from this video. I hope it helps you get one step closer to achieving your own goal of potentially finding something else you're way more passionate about. 2 years ago, I switched completely out of engineering, and now I'm fully doing a remote digital marketing job, and I absolutely love it. I'm extremely happy with the decision I've made. My goal is to make content around remote work, around the problems with engineering, about living abroad, especially here in Spain. And if you're interested in that kind of stuff, definitely subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Hasta luego.